First tonight on Our News Live at 7, saying goodbye to those beloved qualities. First tonight on Our News Live at 7, saying goodbye to those beloved quality stamps. Our Delvardo Emmanuel gets public reaction to the digitization of a family favorite. But first, the president of the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association details the plan to come together to form cannabis regulations. Plus, the Free National Movement calls on the government to do more as Lutherans and Grand Bahamians face ongoing electricity challenges. And then in our news at 7:30, our City in Focus series continues as our Italia Hall explains what gives the Grand Bahama Port Authority their regulatory control. Welcome to Our News Live at 7. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Marlena Leonard, in for Candino Knowles. The Free National Movement is calling on the government to do more as the Lutherans and Grand Bahamians face electricity challenges. Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands says now is the time for action. Berthany McDermott reports.
Amid ongoing electricity concerns in Grand Bahama and Eleuthera, the Free National Movement is placing the blame at the feet of the Davis administration. The GBPC is proposing a 6.3% base rate hike in electricity. It comes 2 years after the company got a 3.4% increase to the base rate. Still, Party Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands believes the government isn't doing enough to address the issue.
This is all about posturing. This is all about pretending that they're finally concerned.
It follows protests on both islands. In Grand Bahama, Minister for Grand Bahama Ginger Moxie, Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell, and West Grand Bahama and Bimini MP Kingsley Smith were seen in attendance. But Sands says instead of standing on the sidelines, they should act.
They have overpromised and underdelivered in Grand Bahama. And so now that the Grand Bahama Power Company is asking for this unconscionable increase in the charges for electricity on Grand Bahama, now they can get on the picket line. You, the government, deal with the problem in the way that is meant to be dealt with.
Over in Eleuthera, scores of Harbor Island residents marched along the streets of Dunmore Town to protest prolonged outages, dressed in white. In a statement, the Ministry of Energy announced the Eleuthera residents will get a 50% rebate on the base rate for all residential and commercial customers for the month of July to be reflected in their August bills. The issue has been plaguing them for months, with residents complaining of multiple outages daily, which in some instances affected their bottom lines.
So when you now go to not Grand Bahama but Eleuthera and you see that the people are pissed off, they're upset, they're angry, you understand why they're angry. Why should I pay a mortgage for light that I can't get? Why don't you pay me for the spoiled food in my fridge? Why don't you pay me for the canceled reservations in my Airbnb or my small hotel?
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
President of the Bahamas Union of Teachers, Belinda Wilson, is criticizing the Ministry of Education school repair program. Her response comes after Education Minister Glenys Hannah Martin defended the nationwide repair program on Tuesday. Hannah Martin says the aggressive initiative goes beyond just changing a doorknob. However, Wilson says it's all a bunch of excuses.
Well, how can the union see the scope of works that has not been shared with us? Also, she claims there is an aggressive school repair program. Well, I guess it's a plan that only the minister knows about, because the BUT has not seen any school repair program, nor has any information been shared with the union, despite the union writing and inquiring about the same.
The Education Minister responding, thanking the President of BUT for her valuable input in this effort, saying the ministry is uncompromising in their goal to secure qualitative advances for the nation's educational system and the many tasks at hand. The minister also commended the efforts of administrators, teachers, students, and their parents. Meantime, the union president also expressing disappointment about the state of schools on the Family Islands.
Is that the children of Ragged Island have not had a school building for years. They're on virtual learning. Holmes' Rock Junior High in Grand Bahama, Low Sound Primary in North Andros, Staniel Key Comprehensive School in Exuma. Millions of dollars have been spent on these schools that are still incomplete after about 7, 8, or 9 years.
The Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association continuing its campaign to educate taxpayers on cannabis legislation. The Senate gave its approval for a compendium of bills that will create a controlled system for cannabis use for medical and religious purposes in the Bahamas. But what's the next step? President Dr. Marvin Smith says they're coming together to form regulations.
One of the things that we're happy that the government has done is they've said to us as an association that we're going to be able to sit to the table and help them craft these things. Our members are the ones who are going to be doing this. All right? And I always remind my good minister when I talk to him that the people who work in his offices are smart. They're very smart. But this is a practice. And it's the people who are out there doing the actual practice that really needs to have a seat at the table too to help bring both of those entities together.
Dr. Smith says they'll also be paying close attention to those pharmacies licensed to distribute cannabis, particularly on the Family Islands.
For one, I think the smaller ones are going to be easy to monitor because there's less traffic coming in, there's less space to look at, there's an easier space to secure.
Are you a collector of super value quality stamps? Well, beginning January 1st, the grocery giant is saying goodbye to those beloved quality stamps and rolling out a brand new digital system. Our Delvardo Emmanuel was on hand to get public reaction.
Moving forward, becoming more modern. And this licking of the papers is like, passé.
After 35 years, Super Value says the issuing of lick and stick quality stamps will be coming to an end. Instead, customers will be issued digital points. We decided to visit local stores to hear just how shoppers feel about this new initiative.
It makes it very convenient for the consumer. We no longer have to ask them for the paper to stick the stamps on. When they run out of stamps, you got to come back to get stamps. It's going to be in digital form. Cut back on paper, you cut back on glue.
So it is a better move because you won't lose it either. You go in the store, you present your card, and you still have your stamps or you still have your reward points. So it's a better way.
But don't worry, it's not ending immediately. Stamps will be collected throughout 2025. Super Value making this post on his Facebook page yesterday, explaining why they're putting an end to the stamps and going digital. They also explain customers will be able to track and redeem their points using an app on their mobile device.
When they convert it into digital, the average person who are not able to use the digital system pertaining to quality stamp, it will be hard for those persons.
With this new system they're trying to do, you wouldn't really know what you're getting when they do it digital. They could easily tell you, okay, you're getting this amount of stamps, and then it's not even what you actually have. Because paper versus going digital, you have a lot of people that won't be able to use digital. The elder people, they ain't used to this new systems that everybody is trying to get into.
But this 80-year-old says she actually would prefer the digital option.
I wouldn't have to be gluing and stapling all these things together, to go to the food store. It'd be much handier because I have a pouch, and you could put that card in there, and when I get to the cash, that's it.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Delvardo Emmanuel.
It's time now for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is standing by in the Weather Center. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Marlene, and a happy Wednesday evening, everybody. Another warm and scorching day around the islands. Temperatures managed to get up into the 90s once again with those heat indices into the triple digits. Looked like we were somewhere between 103 and 109 today. Some locations may have even reached the 110, but it's still warm outside, 87 degrees. Light breeze, east-northeast winds at 7 miles per hour. Your feels like temperature very scorching 97 degrees on the outside. Right now it's 86 in Freeport, Marsh Harbor, Abaco. We pick up 87, Allenstown, Bimini, Great Harbor Key, and over in Governor's Harbor, here in the capital as well. Nicholstown and Ross, 88. Central Bahamas, 88 in Kemps Bay. 86s, Arthurstown, Cat Island, Georgetown, Deadman's Key, Coburn Townsend, Salvador. You guys are 85 and into the Southeast Bahamas. 85s in Duncantown, Ragged Island, Abrahams Bay, Providenciales. Then we pick up 86s, Colonel Hill, Crooked Island, Delectable Bay. Matthewtown, Inago, Deep South. You guys are 85 at this hour. Satellite radar composite. What's to talk about? High pressure in charge. Dry air mass in place. Couple of isolated showers, mainly in the Gulf Stream and just to the north of Grand Bahama. As a matter of fact, Grand Bahama, you guys saw some showers and isolated thunderstorms earlier. But that dry air mass will continue to provide us with some very scorching temperatures. And of course, we are still watching. Ernesto, upgraded to a hurricane earlier today, and it's continuing to make its track towards the north. Winds are now up to 75 miles per hour with gusts as high as 92 miles per hour. It's moving towards the northwest at 60 miles per hour. We expect the system to continue that track. It will stay east of the Bahama Island chain. Of course, we will see some swells affecting the island, so boating and beaching not advised, especially along those Atlantic exposures, and maybe even a glass window bridge over the course of the next couple of days. You could see some very strong swells affecting that area. But this system will continue to track towards the northwest, eventually turning more towards the northeast, strengthening to a Category 2 storm by Thursday, and it looks like Bermuda is in the bullseye, should get to Bermuda by the end of the week. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on Our News. Team Bahamas has arrived in St. Lucia for the Goodwill Games. Our Sasha Lightbourne is on the ground. And later, the Small Business Development Center awards over $500,000 to nearly 100 businesswomen across the country.
Grand Bahama is home to a unique economic arrangement, with that arrangement between government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority under scrutiny as tensions persist.
It's not our direct responsibility to carry out these other things that people think we should be doing.
We need this to be dealt with quicker than quicker and sooner than sooner.
I have a vision for Grand Bahama, and my vision is actually bigger than my grandfather's ever was.
Watch City in Focus, the story of Freeport with Italia Hall, starting August 7th only on RTV.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
extra.
What, eh?
Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you with?
I right here on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video, and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need your 25 cents no more.
Coverage from the 28th edition of the Goodwill Games is brought to you by KFC.
Finger licking good.
Welcome to Our Sports at 7, presented by 10th year seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's John Mark Nutt. Let's do show. Bahamas Aquatics looks to repeat as Goodwill Games champions. Sasha Lightbourne is traveling with the team to St. Lucia and filed this report.
Little hype man traveling with us this time, as he said. This team looks really, really, really good. We took a look at the psych sheets, and I think we're prepared to two-peat again.
The team manager for Team Bahamas heading to the Goodwill Games is Felice Albury, and as you probably imagine, she is tasked with making sure all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed. I asked her about just that.
Well, it first starts at the federation level with the selection of the team. ensuring that we put the best team forward. As you know, swimming in the Bahamas is very competitive, so that would have been the first step. The second step is the Goodwill Games is a parent-funded meet. So the next step is really to secure funding to ensure that the team is able to travel and have the best experience that they can.
And what exactly does that entail?
We work along with the local organizing committee of the host country. And so they really set the framework and the groundwork, and we work within those parameters. So ensuring that the accommodations are set, that they will have proper meals, transportation is in place, that the kids, when they hit the ground, have access to the pool for training, ensuring that they have uniforms. And as you can see, our kids look fantastic, and making sure they have all the gear and the supplies that they need.
Now we'll hear more from Aubrey in a later newscast. With respect to travel, the team landed shortly after noon today on that Bahamas Air charter. It is expected that they will have a short practice before the end of the day. Competition begins on Friday and will end on Sunday. Reporting from St. Lucia for Our News and Our Sports, I'm Sasha Lightbourne.
Joshua Higgins continues to represent the Bahamas on the international sailing scene. Higgins is currently competing at the UK Open and National Championships in Ronaldo's homeland, Dorset, England, in the ILCA 7 class.
Jonquil Jones and the New York Liberty will begin the second half of the WNBA season tomorrow night. The league-leading Liberty will face the Los Angeles Sparks at 9 p.m.
Another milestone accomplishment for Sebastian Walcott as he moves up the ladder in the MLB pipeline rankings. The Texas Rangers infielder is now ranked 38 among the top 100 prospects in the minor leagues.
Felicia Demerit is headed to pro basketball. The former national team player signed with ZKK Jedinsvo Tuzla of the Bosnian Division I League. That'll do it for Our Sports at 7. This is 10YS. Stay tuned to Our News at 7:30 for details on these stories and more. Back to the studio.
When Our News comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world. As Ernesto becomes a hurricane, leaving nearly half of the island of Puerto Rico without power. Plus, a 14-day state of public emergency has been declared in Clarendon, Jamaica, after a mass shooting that left 8 dead and 4 injured. We have the details when Our News returns.
Grand Bahama is home to a unique economic arrangement, with that arrangement between government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority under scrutiny as tensions persist.
It's not our direct responsibility to carry out these other things that people think we should be doing.
We need this to be dealt with quicker than quicker and sooner than sooner.
I have a vision for Grand Bahama, and my vision is actually bigger than my grandfather's ever was.
Watch City in Focus, the story of Freeport with Italia Hall, starting August 7th only on RTV.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
Extra. What, eh?
Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you with?
I heard you on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video, and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need your 25 cents no more.
This is Our News. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. Hurricane Ernesto slammed Puerto Rico Wednesday, leaving nearly half of the island without power and dropping torrential rain. The storm, now 225 miles northwest of San Juan, has sustained winds of 75 miles per hour and is moving toward Bermuda, where it could become a major hurricane. Over 700,000 customers in Puerto Rico are without electricity, and schools and government offices remain closed. Heavy flooding has led to road closures, and more than 140 flights have been canceled. Ernesto is expected to impact Bermuda by Friday, with warnings of dangerous swells along the U.S. East Coast. And a 14-day state of public emergency has been declared in Clarendon, Jamaica, following a mass shooting on Sunday that left 8 dead and 4 injured. The announcement was made by Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang on Wednesday, citing escalating violence as the reason for the measure. Authorities have apprehended 5 suspects, including one who turned himself in and seized an illegal firearm. Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey revealed the shooting is linked to multiple violent incidents in the area, which he said is part of a broader feud with international ties.
We will provide $5 million for information aiding in the investigation, arrest and charge of facilitators of this criminal act, up to a maximum of $1.5 million per person. We're particularly interested in the facilitators and the organizers. The facilitators, those who provided the weapons or gave access to the weapons and ammunition, access to the motor vehicle, organized, made the telephone calls, made the connections. We're particularly interested in those persons.
We are confident the police will use these tools, supported by the Jamaica Defence Force, to effectively control the rise of criminal violence in Clarendon.
And the World Health Organization declared monkeypox a public health emergency of international concern on Wednesday, citing a surge in cases worldwide. WHO Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus made the announcement after an emergency committee meeting. The Democratic Republic of the Congo has reportedly seen over 14,000 cases and 524 deaths this year. Centers for Disease Control says over 1,600 cases have been reported in the U.S. this year, more than double last year's count, but far below the 2022 outbreak levels. Still to come in Our News, Today in History. Find out interesting facts about the day that was August 14th. And then in Our News at 7:30, the details on the missing fisherman found dead in Grand Bahama. And the F&M chairman slams the Davis administration's decision to take the Grand Bahama Power Company dispute to court. That's coming up when Our News returns.
Grand Bahama is home to a unique economic arrangement, with that arrangement between government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority under scrutiny as tensions persist.
It's not our direct responsibility to carry out these other things that people think we should be doing.
We need this to be dealt with quicker than quicker and sooner than sooner.
I have a vision for Grand Bahama, and my vision's actually bigger than my grandfather's ever was.
Watch City in Focus, the story of Freeport with Italia Hall, starting August 7th only on RTV.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
Extra. What, eh?
Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you with?
I right here on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need your 25 cents no more.
On this day in Bahamian history in 2012, former cabinet minister and then chairman of the Free National Movement, Charles Maynard, died in North Abaco. He was 42. At the time of his death, Maynard was campaigning for the upcoming by-election in that constituency after the resignation and retirement of former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram, who held the seat. Maynard reportedly suffered a heart attack after a campaign event and was rushed to the Treasure Key Clinic. Then in 2013 was the groundbreaking of Genting Group's Phase 2 expansion of Resorts World on Bimini. Work had officially begun on the project, which then Prime Minister Perry Christie touted for the creation of more than 100 construction jobs and an additional 350 permanent jobs. Then August 14th, 2018, it was revealed the entire Bahamas Power and Light Board had been dismissed. Then Union President Paul Maynard confirmed the firings to Our News after a meeting with senior officials. It was later reported the board was fired after then Minister of Works Desmond Bannister claimed board members had clashed on almost every critical issue, which was at a great cost to the power company. The board was chaired by Darnell Osborne at the time, who along with 2 other ousted directors went on to sue BPL and the government for unfair and wrongful dismissal. In July 2022, it was announced government agreed to settle the case. 2 years later, in 2020, there were 1,119 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Health officials reported there were 946 active cases at the time, with 138 recovered. There were also 17 total deaths, while 8 others were still under investigation.
Nearly 100 Bahamian women from Grand Bahama to Inagua became first-time grant recipients thanks to the Small Business Development Center's 2024 Women Entrepreneurs Initiative. I spoke with some of those businesswomen this afternoon, sharing their accomplishments and their dreams for the future.
Since all of today's awardees are first-time grant recipients, the number of funded businesses owned by women has now officially increased from 1,139 to 1,222. As well, $29.8 million in approvals has jumped to $30.4 million in approvals for women-owned businesses.
SBDC's Deputy Executive Director Felice Bethel says over $500,000 in grants pushes the SBDC into a new milestone in their support of women-owned businesses. Over $600,000 in grants will be going to 83 Bahamian businesswomen thanks to the Small Business Development Center's 2024 Women Entrepreneurs Initiative. Grant recipient Tishka Moss is the founder of Traveling Tots Rentals. She tells us it was her experience as a mother that inspired the business idea.
I traveled with my children and it was a disaster. That first one, just having to pack up so many things. I had suitcases, I had the baby bag, I had the breast pump. It was just a lot. So I'm like, there has to be a better way. And I recognized that it was an industry that was popular in other tourist destinations. So I'm like, why don't we do it here?
Over $98,000 of those grants went to 14 businesswomen in Grand Bahama. Lisa Turnquest was one of them. Her home-based company, Captain Corn, was founded in 2018. And after going through Hurricane Dorian and the pandemic in Grand Bahama, she says this grant will be key in fueling the company's comeback.
Phenomenal to learn and see all of the digital things that are available out there to promote your business, to enhance your business. And I'm thinking, I just mix seasonings and I make corn, but now I know how, I've learned ways to really push it into the markets that I want it to be in.
34 of the 83 women who received grant funding are based in Grand Bahama and the Family Islands, going as far south as businesswomen in Inagua and Mayaguana. Congratulations again to all of those businesswomen. And to watch that story again and for all of today's top stories, visit ournews.bs. Well, that does it for Our News at 7. Joining us now is our Italia Hall with the latest headlines. Italia?
Thanks so much, Marlena. Well, coming up tonight, the F&M chairman slamming government over their decision to take the GBPA dispute to court. And the Pharmaceutical Association says they're taking steps to monitor the price of medication. Here are your latest headlines. First tonight on Our News Live at 7:30, it's all a big show. The Free National Movement chairman slamming government's decision to take the Grand Bahama Power Company's dispute to court. And what gives the GBPA regulatory control? We take a look at history in tonight's City in Focus. Plus, the Water and Sewerage Company addresses water concerns on the island of Eleuthera. And later, a former acting labor director says he has no sympathy for the Bahamas Trade Union Congress. We have his full comments when Our News Live at 7:30 returns.
I love my EV. I am Generation E.
I am Generation E.
I am Generation E.
And I am Generation E.
Well, what you doing here?
I dig in the well to connect to the house of building for me and Mavis.
Why you just don't call water and sewage?
Call them for what?
To get your city water. You don't have to worry about your water cutting off when the power cut off. And your water's clean and safe, free from coliform bacteria.
Cauliflower what?
Call us at 302-5500 to make the switch from well water to city water for a more fresh, reliable water supply for you and your family.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop.
Welcome to our news. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Natalia Hall. Well, one day after Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell said the government is preparing to take legal action over the Grand Bahama Power Company's rate hike, Free National Movement Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands says it's all just a big show. Mitchell suggested the decision should not have been made without the approval from the Utilities Regulation and Competition Authority. Dr. Sands is questioning, what's the point?
This is all posturing, pontificating, big show, okay? Why you decide to have a public fight now with the Grand Bahama Port Authority? What benefit is that for the average Joe, the average Susie, the average Sally, who is struggling to make ends meet?
The government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority have been in an ongoing disagreement for months now. The GBPA operates Freeport under special powers conferred by the Hawksbill Creek Agreement. The GBPA argues that the HCA defines its role as the sole exclusive licensor and regulator for all utilities in the port area. The government, however, has maintained IRCA is the only regulator, citing the Electricity Act 2024, which established it as the independent regulator for the generation, transmission, and distribution supply of electricity for the entire country.
You know for a fact that there's a challenge between the Hawksbill Creek Agreement and the new Electricity Act that has to be resolved in the courts. And no amount of language otherwise or commentary otherwise is going to solve that problem. So why are you trying to pretend as if you believe that it's going to solve that problem just because you say so?
Well, Grand Bahama is the only island in the country with a unique economic arrangement. This as the Grand Bahama Port Authority has regulatory control over the city of Freeport. But some have questioned, how did this all come into play? And why does the GBPA have the regulatory responsibility for all utilities on the island? In this report, we take a look at the history and speak with one of the shareholders who shares how it got to this point.
I think it's another example of going above and beyond, right? I don't think it makes commercial sense to put transmission, distribution lines all the way out to the east of the island, 40, 50 miles, for a small community.
It all started in the early 90s with the execution of the East and West End agreements. History shows the utility companies agreed to offer its services to communities outside of the city of Freeport under the then Ingram administration. The Grand Bahama Utility Company was responsible for building the infrastructure for water. As for electricity, the then power company assumed responsibility for the generation of power in all government territories on the island, including East End, West End, Smiths Point, Materstown, North Waterkey, and Sweetings Key. GBPA officials confirmed the East and West End agreements gave regulatory control to the Grand Bahama Port Authority. The agreement was extended for an additional 25 years under the Minnis administration after it expired in 2018. However, when Emera purchased the controlling shares of the Freeport Power Company, the power giant evolved into the Grand Bahama Power Company, and in 2013, GBPC and GBPA signed a regulatory framework. It's the document that governs the standards and processes of the GBPC. But some have asked, what was the purpose of the East and West End agreements? Shareholder of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, Rupert Hayward, explains it was a decision made years ago to help residents who live outside the port area. The western and eastern ends of the island see lower utility bills.
It was agreed to help the communities, to help the wider populace of Grand Bahama, not just Freeport. And I think as a result of that, power bills came down 25% for the people in the east and the west of the island. So it was a great thing. It was an example of how the Port Authority, working with GBPC, which we actually owned at the time, can work for the benefit of not just Freeport, but for the entire island.
While the Water and Sewerage Corporation addressing concerns expressed by Harbor Island residents during a protest on Monday, WSC says the combination of aging, very fragile public infrastructure systems, challenging water production contractual agreements, and the rapid increase in the demand for water supply post-COVID-19 has severely impacted the reliability of the water supply system. Despite this, the utility company says work has been completed and the issue is being addressed. WSC says residents have seen some incremental improvements already, with improvements continuing. And some sad news to report tonight from Grand Bahama. A 65-year-old man who was reported missing earlier this week was found unresponsive along the shores of Gold Rock Creek shortly after 7 this morning. The elderly man went missing while fishing. When the doctor arrived on scene, he examined the male and found no signs of life. He was pronounced dead. Police say foul play is not suspected and a post-mortem exam will be conducted. A former acting labor director is joining a growing list of critics, calling out the Bahamas Trade Union Congress and its president for signing a memorandum of understanding with the Progressive Liberal Party when they were in opposition. 2 years later, the union is at odds with government, claiming they did not keep their word. Our Joshua Williams reports.
I don't blame the government to do to them exactly what they're doing to them.
Former acting labor director and former Bahamas Public Services Union president John Pinder says he has no sympathy for the Bahamas Trade Union Congress. The TUC and its president are complaining government is not living up to a memorandum of understanding signed by the then PLP opposition before the 2021 general election. Pinder says the move was a mistake.
First of all, you should never ever sign, unless you sign with both political parties, a memorandum of understanding. You sign with a party that was in opposition at the time. Suppose they lost the government. Okay? So in my view, if you don't get, there should be an agreement between both major parties, anything the trade union was looking for.
Pinder is not the only critic. A few weeks ago, the Bahamas National Alliance Trade Union Congress President Belinda Wilson accused Ferguson of being a political pawn. Then it was current BPSU President Kimsley Ferguson who said the union is now crying sour grapes. Most recently, former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis said the TUC had been hoodwinked.
It should have been both persons signing. If you lose or if you win, this is what you're looking for. I think that would have been better. And so when you sell your soul for porridge of carrot, that's what you get. So what's the solution?
As a result of the fallout, Pinder says union leaders need to keep their unions separate from politics.
Union leaders ought to be independent of politics as related to the entire organization. When you go to the post, do what you want to do as an individual, but as an organization that you're representing people from all sides of the fence, you got to be independent. You can't make it publicly know that this is why I'm supporting over the rest. That causes a bit of division in your organization, and so I believe it's always best. If you're going to do something, do it both major parties, and that shows more of a balance.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Thanks so much, Josh. Well, all eyes on Hurricane Ernesto. The mega storm intensified to a hurricane today after pounding Puerto Rico and the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center with more. Greg.
Yeah, thanks, Natalia, and welcome everybody for a quick check on conditions around the islands and outside our studios. Another scorching day, still warm out there. 87 degrees is our current temperature. Winds out of the east-northeast at 7 miles per hour, but it feels like a very warm 97 degrees on the outside. Satellite radar composite not showing much at all across our area. High pressure and a dry air mass is in place, and that's keeping us mostly cloud and rain-free. Couple of isolated showers up near the Grand Bahama area and into the Florida Straits, but all in all it should remain a dry evening. And of course, Ernesto is still to the east of the islands, strengthened to a Category 1 storm earlier today, We'll continue that track towards the north-northwest and stay well away from us, but we do expect some swells to be affecting the island, so beaching and boating will become a challenge over the next couple of days. That's a quick check on conditions around the islands. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on Our News, the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association says it's closely monitoring the high cost of medication. We'll tell you why when Our News returns. Stay with us.
Wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
Extra. What, eh?
Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you is?
I heard you on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video, and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need your 25 cents no more.
The high cost of medicine is something the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association says it's closely monitoring. It's been an issue raised in the past by parliamentarians, including former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, particularly at government institutions like the Princess Margaret Hospital. The association's president, Dr. Marvin Smith, says they've drafted a document that's currently in its final stages to be presented to government. But what is the overall goal?
That's going to, we think, provide some reasonable avenues in which the government can both secure the authenticity and effectiveness of medicines from proper sources, but also at a very cost-effective rate. The fact of the matter is that a lot of the things that we're trying to do in the name of product security are really just avenues in which big pharma is using to push more expensive drugs.
Now, taxpayers have often accused the pharmaceutical industry of being a cash grab, something Dr. Smith says is simply not true, adding that even they are regulated by price control.
I'm not a dumb guy, and if owning a pharmacy was such a lucrative business, I would have been in it 24 years ago. All right? The fact of the matter is that your overhead's high. Okay? Your overhead's very high. You're bringing in product that you have to buy in bulk, and you don't know if you're going to actually get it sold unless somebody gets sick. Okay? So a lot of overheads there. The security issues, you have to pay professionals, you have to deal with front of store. Pharmacists it's a good living, but I can promise you, nobody is gouging, overcharging, any of this stuff.
Coming up in sports, Joshua Higgins begins his quest towards Olympic qualification. Meanwhile, JJ and the New York Liberty look to resume the second half of the WNBA season.
And we're keeping a close eye on the tropics as Ernesto strengthened into a hurricane. Greg is back with more details when Our News returns.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
Extra. What, eh?
Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you is?
I right here on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video, and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need your 25 cents no more.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
Extra. What, eh?
Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you is?
I right here on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video, and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need your 25 cents no more.
Welcome to Our Sports, presented by 10th year seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's John Mark Nutt. Let's do show. The Paris Olympics may have just concluded, but the next Olympic cycle has already begun for Bahamian sailor Joshua Higgins, who looks to qualify for the Los Angeles Games in 2028. Higgins is currently competing at the UK Open and National Championships in Dorset, England. Fantastic place, by the way. Sailing in the ILCA 7 fleet, which features 60 competitors, Higgins had a top finish of 6th place in race 2. He also finished 11th in race 1, 25th in race 3, and 33rd in race 4. Already a multinational champion across various classes, he has also represented the Bahamas internationally at the CAC Games, the ILCA Radial Youth World Championships, ILCA Under 21 World Championships, and the International Sailing Federation World Championships. Most recently, at the 2024 Last Chance Regatta last April in France, Higgins competed in the ILCA Class 7 series and finished 35th out of 61 sailors. The Harbour Island native has sailed in all of the major classes, but is currently looking to qualify for the 2028 Olympics in the ILCA 7 class. The regatta continues through August 17th.
The Olympics are done, and Jonquil Jones and the New York Liberty can get back to the goal of winning the 2024 WNBA title. The Liberty will be back on the court Thursday at 9 p.m. on the road when they travel to face the Los Angeles Sparks. The brief road trip continues Saturday afternoon in Las Vegas against the defending champion Aces at 4 p.m. They return home with a 3-game homestand in 4 days, beginning with back-to-back games against the Dallas Wings on the 20th and 22nd, followed by a matchup with the Connecticut Sun on the 24th. Jones is averaging 15.3 points, 9.1 rebounds, and 1.3 blocks per game this season. Named an All-Star for the 5th time, she also finished as runner-up in the three-point contest at All-Star Weekend. The Liberty lead the WNBA standings at 21-4, followed by the Connecticut Sun at 18-6, along with the Minnesota Lynx and Seattle Storm at 17-8.
Sebastian Walcott continues his ascent up the rankings as one of the top prospects in minor league baseball. Walcott is now ranked number 38 in MLB Pipeline's much-anticipated list of the top 100 prospects. He was previously ranked number 73 before the season began. The 18-year-old infielder in the Texas Rangers organization has spent this season at the high A level with the Hickory Crawdads. Through 96 games this season, he's hitting .254 with 37 RBI, 23 doubles, 18 stolen bases, 10 home runs, and a .777 OPS. This season, he became just the second Bahamian player named to the MLB Futures game, which features the top prospects in all of minor league baseball.
National team standout Felicia Demerit is headed to pro basketball. Demerit signed with ZKK Jiu-Jitsu Tulsa of the top division of the women's basketball team in Bosnia and Herzegovina. The 5'9" forward recently completed her collegiate career with the Division III Coker University Cougars, where she averaged 9.6 points and 5.3 rebounds per game as a senior. She joins a club that is one of the oldest in Bosnia and has won the league title 3 times. At the senior national team level, Demerit has appeared at the Caribbean Women's Championship in 2022 and as a junior in 2018 at the Central Basket U17 tournament.
That'll do it for our sports. This is 10YS. Thank God the WNBA is back. JJ needs to get this title.
Lone content.
So much content. Back to the studio.
When our news comes back from the break, we're keeping a close eye on the tropics as Ernesto intensifies into a hurricane. Greg is back with the latest when our news continues. Stay with us.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
Extra. What, eh?
Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you is?
I right here on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video, and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need your 25 cents no more.
This is our news. Welcome back. Of course, we are still tracking Ernesto, which strengthened to a Category 1 storm early this morning, just to the north of Puerto Rico, moving into some very warm waters, as well as some reduced wind shear. The system will continue to make its trek towards the north-northwest over the next couple of days, eventually turning more towards the north. Lots of convection associated with the system around the center of circulation. And of course, we have some rain bands that will be pulling out towards the east of the circulation. We may get 1 or 2 showers across the southeast Bahamas as the system continues to track towards that north-northwest, eventually moving towards the north. System will strengthen to at least a Category 2 storm before it gets to Bermuda, which should happen sometime by the end of the week. So the guys up there, they're going to have to deal with the system. Swells will begin to affect the islands, so beaching and boating will become a challenge. We're asking you to exercise extreme caution, especially across the southeast and central Bahamas. We're asking you boaters to remain in port. That high-pressure system will continue to keep us very warm over the next couple of days, and that's going to spell some high heat indices during that time frame. Future forecast showing that circulation with Ernesto still out there to the east of us. Some of the rain bands will be moving across Hispaniola as well as the extreme southeast Bahamas, and then we could see some trailing moisture by Friday still across our area, so some showers and thunderstorms likely in the forecast. Boating forecast. Northwest and central Bahamas, an advisory is posted. We're asking you boaters not to venture into the Atlantic exposures. Winds will be north to northeast at 10 to 15 knots tomorrow. Seas 3 to 5 feet, but they will be building up to 9 feet along Atlantic exposures. Low tide will be at 10:36 tonight. Your high tide at 4:13 in the morning. For the southeast Bahamas, we ask you small craft operators to remain in port. North to northeast winds 15 to 25 knots. Seas 5 to 8 feet, but they will be building up to 12 feet along Atlantic exposures. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your extended forecast, beautiful conditions expected for the next couple of days. Mostly dry. We could see, like I said, a couple isolated showers, but temperatures will take a slight dip. They should get near the 90-degree mark, but by early part of next week, we expect some moisture in place with a little disturbance moving into our area. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody.
Thanks so much, Greg, and thank you for joining us for our news tonight on behalf of the entire team. I'm Natalia Hall. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening.